So in this video, I'm just going to be cutting a short. I'm going to be cutting a short that is not too big, because not everyone likes their shorts too extravagant, too big. Yeah. So the length of the short, that is short length is 22. Yeah, it's 22. That is the length of the short we'll be making use of. And the person do not want the shorts too big. So on a normal day, since the hip measurement is 42, all I need to do is measure 42 divided by 4, because when you're cutting a short, you divide the hip by 4. 42 divided by 4 is 10.5, okay, which is 10.5. So if for those that want their shorts to be very big, I will measure the 10.5 here, all right, and I will add extra like 4 inches extra or 5 or 6 inches extra. But because this particular short is not going to be that big, okay, now the hip measurement is 42. Okay, the hip measurement is 42. I'm going to be adding extra 4 inches, which is 42 plus 4 is equals to 46. Then I'll divide this 46 by 4. Instead of just marking 10.5 and adding the extra 4 inches, I'm just going to add it first to the measurement, then before dividing it. Okay, so we have 42 plus 4 is equals to 46. Now 46 divided by 4 will give us 11 and a half, right? 11 will give us 44. 12 will give us 48. Now 11 and a half will give us 23. Then another 11 and a half will give us 23. Okay, so now I'm just going to be using 11 and a half for it. You can decide to add extra 5 to it, which is 47, and we'll be using 11 and a half and quarter. Okay, but this is the measurement we are going to be using. 46 divided by 4 will give us, which is 11.5. So this is the measurement we'll use to cut the hip. Okay, we'll be using it to cut the hip. Now for this particular one, I'm still going to be using it for the waist. Okay, because there will be elastic at the waist, though because it's not going to be that big, the elastic will not be that pronounced. I can decide to add, maybe make it, since it's 42, since the hip is 42, to make the gather more pronounced at the waist, we can add 6 inches instead of the normal 4 inches. I will add 6 inches, making it 48. That means 48 divided by 4 will now give us 12. Okay, 48 divided by 4 will give us 12. This one will be a little big. So yeah, that's it. So if you don't want your pants to be that big, you can do it this way. Okay, add whatever many inches, add it to the measurement first, then divide it, rather than marking your hip measurement then adding it. Because if we are going to take this method, like since the hip is 10.5, I add 10.5, mark 10.5 here, right? Then I add the extra maybe 4, then I add the extra 4 inches. In total we'll be having something like 14.5, which is big. Okay, so we'll be using 12. Okay, we'll be using 12 for it. Now the length of the pants, like we said, the length is 22. The length of the pants is 22, so I'm just going to mark 22. This is 22. Now this is 22. I'm just going to read a straight line. Okay. So I'm going to be adding extra 2 inches for folding. Okay, extra 2 inches for folding. Now there is something we did not do. This particular pants is going to have a band, okay, and the band measurement is 2 inches band. I'm going to be using a 2 inches band for it. Okay, now to get the exact length of the short, I'll be subtracting the band measurements before marking the exact length of the short. Okay, now so I'm going to place my tape at 1.5, okay, to get the length of the short. All right, since the length of the band is 2 inches, I will not place it at exactly 2 inches. I'm going to place it at 1.5. The remaining half inch that will complete it will now be for sewing when joining the band to the short. Okay, I will not place it at 2 inches. I'll place it at 1.5. Now this remaining half inch will be what I will use in joining the band. All right, so if for example the length of my band is 1.5, I'm going to place it at 1 inch and so on. Okay, now so I'm going to be subtracting 1.5 to get the length of the pants. So this is where our 22 ends, not here. Okay, so this is where I'm going to mark. So this is 22. Let me use this so we can differentiate. This is 22. Now I'm going to be adding extra 1.5 or 2 inches for folding the pants. Okay, so this is 1.5. This is 1.5. So this will not be the main length of the short. This remaining one is what I'll use to fold the back, to fold the length of the short. This is what I'll use for folding so that it will be a little bit bold and not tiny. All right, so now after getting this, I'm just going to get the length of our flap. Okay, the length of the flap. Now the length of this particular flap for this short is 12 inches. Okay, now to get the flap, I will play. This is the up of the pants, this is the down. I just use this to get the length. Okay, now I'm going to place my tape at 1.5 just like we did to get the length of the flap. Now the length of the flap is 12 inches. I'm going to be using 12. I'm just going to mark 12. Now sometimes, let me say this, sometimes if your normal trouser flap, okay, if your normal trouser flap is usually 11, okay, it's usually 11, when cutting a free pants or a free short or a free trouser, please add extra 1 inch for ease. Okay, don't use exactly that 11. For example, your normal pants or your normal trouser, when cutting it, you usually use 11 to give you that fitted look. But when you are trying to cut a short, okay, that a short or a trouser that will be big like a palazzo, do well to add extra 1 inch for ease, because you know it's not going to be free, so that that part will be a little bit free on you. Okay. Now this is for our flap. Okay, so the hip is 12, so we are just going to, we are, for this pants we are not making use of the waist measurement because it's irrelevant. Okay, we are going to be using the same measurements for this part. The same measurements we are using here, we'll use it here. Okay, the same measurements we are using here, we are going to use it here. Now I'm using 12. The same 12 I marked at the thigh line, I'm marking it at the waistline. Okay, then I'm just going to connect. Now after this, I'm just going to be adding extra 2 inches here. You might be wondering, why did I mark the hip line? Of course, you know the hip line is usually between 8 and 9, but since the same measurement I'm using for here for the thigh, I'm using it for the waist and the hip line. That's why I just ignored the hip line. Now I'll be adding extra 2 inches here. Okay, at the thigh line I will not be adding extra 2 inches. Okay, after adding extra 2, from this point I'm going to go up by 1 inch. Okay, I'll just go up by 1 inch. Then from there I will connect it all through. Now I'll just take these measurements down, just like that. I'll take these measurements down. Now what we have here is 14. I'll measure that 14 here. So, and we are good to go. This is for the front. For the pocket, I will go down by 8 and I'll just notch this part. This is where our pocket will sit. Okay, this is where our pocket will sit. All right. So we are done with the front and I'm just going to cut it out. and this fabric is a little bit stretchy. So if you are working with a fabric that is not that stretchy, please do well to add more inches. So this place will serve as our pocket. Okay, now we are about to cut the back. Now we are cutting the back of this one. So this is what we are going to do. To cut the back is not difficult to cut the back. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding, going up here by either 1.5 or 2 inches. If the back side of your client, maybe your client has a very big back side, all right, please do well to go up by 2 inches. But if the back side is not too pronounced, not too big, you can make do with 1.5 or even 1 inch, depending on how big the back side is. Because if you use the same thing for the front and the back, you realize that when your client puts on that short, the back shorts will start going low. You start dragging it up because the back side, which is the bum, will start dragging it down. So that's why we like adding more inches here to the back side of the measurements. This part, not this side, this side, and then you connect it. So for this one, I'm going to be using 2. Okay, I'm going to be using 2. All right, I went up by 2, and then I'll connect it to this part. You can use your hand to help it to become more curved. Okay, so this is it. Now for this part, I'm just going to be adding 2.5 inches as allowance. Okay, I'll just add 2.5, and I'll just take it all down. Okay, so I added 2.5, and yeah, now for this part, I can decide to add, for the waistline, I can decide to add maybe 3 inches or same 2.5. Okay, I can decide to add that. So for this one, let's see, we'll be adding 2.5 as well. Yes, we'll be adding 2.5 as well. Remember, from here we went up by 2 inches. Okay, I'm just trying to connect it then join it here. Now I'm just going to go down and join it to this one. Remember, what we added here was 2.5, so you take it down 2.5, 2.5. Yeah, so I'm going to take it down. Okay, so this line is not included, so what we have here is same 2.5, so I just connected it together to meet this one. The cloth is stretching very well, so that's why I'm taking my time. So we are done with this back. I hope you understand, we are done with the back. So this is just it for the back, so I'm just going to cut it out. Okay, and I'll open this side up. Please, when cutting your clients' clothes, do well to use tailor's chalk. Where is it? Don't use biro, please. Do not use biro. Preferably use this. I'm using this biro because This is just for practical, this is just for explanation, okay? So preferably use this, don't use biro, because most times to erase this biro mark would be so hard. I used biro because I wanted the explanations to be really clear for everyone to see, and because this fabric is just stretchy, it's doing almost like chiffon. When you drag it to this side, you drag it to this side. When I'm using this, it's dragging it. Okay, that's why I just went for pen. And this is not a client's short, okay? So please do well to use this. At least this one you can erase it afterwards and it will still look neat when you present it to your clients than biro. The inside of your work might just look rough, okay? Yeah. So hope you learned something, and let's try to cut the pockets, okay? So for the pockets, sometimes before cutting my pockets, I like joining the front parts to be sure how many inches I want for the pocket, okay? So let's see, maybe six will be okay. Yeah, six on fold. So let's use 6 on fold. 8 will be too much. The pocket shouldn't be too extra. 6, okay? Okay. So for the pocket, for the length of the pocket, the length of the pocket will be 12. You know, remember we marked 7, okay? We marked 7 for the front side. I notched 7 to know the length of the pocket. But you know, we are not going to stop at 8. Let me bring it so you people understand what I'm trying to explain. Now, this is it. I marked 8 here to know where my pocket, this is where the joining of the pocket will end. Now I'm going to extend it, okay? I'm going to extend it, like, let's use for example now. I'm going to join the pocket like this. When I join the pocket like this, the remaining one will be that inner that will not allow your hand, so that when you place your hand inside your pocket or whatever you put inside your pocket, it will not fall off. So my sewing will end here, but then there will be extra that allows you to place things inside your pocket. If I just end it here, that means you can't easily put your hand inside the pocket. But this is where the sewing will end. This is where the joining will end. Then this extra allows you to put things or help your hand relax when you put it inside your pocket, okay? So yeah. So I'll be using 12, which is extra 4. Okay, extra 4, I'll be using 12. Now I'll be making it 12.5. Okay, this half will be to join the down. Okay, 12.5. The half is just to join the down. So I'll mark 12.5, which is 12.5. Okay, now so for here on fold, I'll be making use of 6. Okay, I'll be making use of 6 on fold. This part is not straight. It's not straight, sorry. I'm going to adjust it. Okay, it's straight now. So we're going to take the measurements again. Yeah. Okay, so we have this 12. Then on fold, I'll be making use of 6. 6 is just for a normal moderate pocket. You can make use of 7. Let's use 7. At least 7 is a little bit big. Use 7. I'll mark 7 all round. Then I'll cut it out. Now, it doesn't end here. I'm going to bring the front part. So this is the front part, right? This is the place we notch, okay? Where's the circle? Okay. So this is it. This is the part we notch. Now I'm just going to measure 1 inch inside, okay? Look at it. I'm going to measure 1 inch inside. Then I'll connect that 1 inch to this part. I'm trying to give the shape of the pocket a little curve. So that's why you see me doing this. I don't want the pocket to be just straight, so I'm giving it a little curve. Look at it. Now, I'm just going to cut it out like this. Remember, 1 inch here. You can do half. So this is what it looks like, okay? Now, the same thing, the parts that I will use in join, remember this thing is on fold, okay? This is on fold. Okay, this is on fold. Now, the parts that I will use in joining to the pocket side, because one part, I will join one part of this, I'll use it to join to where our pocket will sit. So first of all, I will also mark the same 8 here. Of course, you know I subtracted 1.5 in getting that 8. So I'm going to mark that same 8. Then I will notch. So the next thing I'm going to do is to measure 1 inch inside, go in by 1 inch. The same thing I did here, I'm just going to do it here, but this one will just be on one side, not the two sides. Okay, I will mark 1 inch. Now I will connect it to this part. So this is the part that I will use, okay? I will use in joining this place like this. Okay, I'll use it in joining it. So this one doesn't have to be curved because this one will go for joining. This part is what we show outside when you put in your hand in the pocket, and this other part we go for joining when you are joining the front part to the back part. So this side doesn't need to be curved. Okay, so this is it. Do you have any question? I'll cut out, of course, I'll cut out another pocket, okay? I'm going to cut out another pocket. But so far, is there any question? So far, is there any question? Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. I appreciate. Okay. So I'm just going to cut out the second pocket and do the same thing I did for this particular pocket. I'll cut out the second pocket and do the same thing I did for this particular pocket. So I'm just trying to iron this part so it will be straight. So I'm going to be placing this together to get the right part to cut for the other side. Like I said, we are doing it for just one side and not the both sides. The same thing we did at the front side, we are doing it for the pockets as well. Remember, what we are subtracting is just 1 inch. Yeah. So yeah, this part is what we'll use in attaching it to the front part of the shorts. This is the front part of the shorts, and not here. Okay. Yes. So we're attaching it like this. Yes, like this. Then for the other side, we'll be attaching it like this as well. They both have that curve. I don't want the pocket to just be that straight. Okay, just a little curve, not that pronounced. So this is it for the tutorial, and I hope you learned something. Do well to subscribe to my YouTube channel. We have so many tutorials that you love, and I just posted the backless boo-boo, the trending backless boo-boo, and I showed step by step how to cut it, how to sew it, and I also added a little twist for those who don't like their back to be that exposed. Okay, you can do well to check the tutorial. I posted it yesterday, and you also learn how to attach eyelets, do your eyelet on your own, making use of the eyelet tool machine. Eyelet tool, yeah. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.